Increased online use during the pandemic is leading to more cases of cyberbullying.
Media companies will face very significant fines if they fail to remove and limit the spread of illegal content.
All teenagers have seen something harmful on social media in the last month or so. The problem is none of us are doing anything about it.
I have no doubt that Instagram helped kill my daughter.
Like most young people my age, I use social media maybe a bit too much, but it's a place where I can communicate with my friends, share my art, and connect with others from all over the world. "276 social media users were asked about their social media activity. These were the results. When asked about what social media platforms respondents used, most identified using Facebook, and at least one other, with over 2/3 of respondents having a profile on all other platforms. From my research, only one person said they would use social media every few days. All others claimed daily use, with 1/4 saying they would check into their social media feeds every hour. When asked how social media had made respondents feel, the majority of respondents showed positive emotions, with under 1/3 recognising that at some point they experienced more negative emotions. To gain a better understanding of this topic, I spoke with Dr. Catherine Kenny, a doctor of psychology at the University of Sunderland, who conducts research into digital communication platforms and its implications for health and well-being. Why do we use social media?
So, social media has a huge effect on everybody, not just young people. But because young people are probably the widest users of social media, then the biggest effects are probably seen there. There's a huge amount of research that demonstrates that as human beings, what we're interested in is being sociable. So even if you go back into our evolutionary past, people lived in social groups and they interacted together. What social media does is allow that on a much, much bigger scale.
What are the risks from social media to young people?
But in terms of social media, it's the pressure to conform to a particular identity, and that's what's harmful for young people, because they are met with unreachable standards and are persuaded to try and meet these unreachable standards. And so you have young girls starving themselves to be incredibly thin when actually the social media influencer that they're following isn't that thin at all. They've been putting all kinds of filters or altering the shape of the photograph after they've taken the image. You've got young people desperately trying to conform to particular body image shapes.
From my research into social media, I've been able to discover that 4 in 5 UK public believe tighter regulation is needed to address the impact of social media on the health and well-being of young people, with other sources stating that 38% of adults think social media is actively harmful. It is thought that addiction to social media affects around 5% of young adults and is recently described as potentially more addictive than alcohol and cigarettes. All of which reinforces the findings from my own primary research. How does this affect young people?
Just there are that if you're having a hard time at school, and of course we've got that group thing going on, so the person who's been given the hard time is just outside the group, because bullies tend to have a following of people that stick together, and that bullying doesn't stop. It doesn't stop when you go home. There's no respite from it, so it carries on and everybody gets involved and images are shared, and there's just so much harm that can occur in terms of social media use, and the idea that it's 24/7, 365, and there's just no escape whatsoever, and it can lead to really serious consequences.
What do the social media companies say?
Twitter states, "Our rules are to ensure all people can participate in the public conversation freely and safely." TikTok says, "We are continuously evolving our policies and investing in our technology so that TikTok remains a safe place for our users." Snapchat says, we have created a new suicide and self-harm category. When our trust and safety team recognises a Snapchat in distress, they have an option to forward self-harm prevention and support resources, and to notify emergency response personnel where appropriate. Meta states, our goal is to protect people from harm. We take our role in keeping harmful content off our platform seriously. But not everyone agrees.
Today, because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy. The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people.
When asked about the bad things about social media, 276 respondents said, and this is not even the full list. In my survey, I asked 276 respondents the following question. Are social media companies doing enough to keep young people safe on their platforms? 75% answered no, or I don't know.
Is social media affecting young people's self-image and their understanding of the world? Social media provides extreme views of the world, from the brutal reality of the terrible things that go on, which can often be graphic and disturbing and can affect people's mental health, to the other side of social media, where there are snapshots of people's lives, the things that they want to share, the things that make them seem perfect, and these things can lead people to feel inadequate, particularly young people. They feel that their lives are not as good, they try to meet these impossibly high standards, and that can cause physical and mental harm.
Social media can be a double-edged sword. For all the positives it brings us, it also holds very serious risks, especially to young people. With controversy and social media seem to exist hand in hand, and social media companies being more interested in profit making than users' well-being, this is unlikely to ever change.